If you haven't seen this heartbreaking video of this baby monkey yet, here it is. Don't worry, nothing graphic, but it's just very sad. There's actually something to this story that's going to change the way you see it entirely. Yeah, this monkey is actually the crypto influencer Big Banana 101. He actually scammed his community out of $10 million back in 2021. So when you look at it that way, this video is not really that sad after all, is it? Obviously, that was a joke, but there is genuinely something more to this story that most people are missing, so let's get into it. So first off, just get this out of the way, that monkey shouldn't be in a zoo in the first place. Zoos are very good at positioning themselves as these conservation efforts and educating people and all this sort of stuff, but the reality is that the vast majority of zoos have animals that are in there because they were bought to be put there or because they were bred to be put there. There are some places that are rescues and they are there for conservation efforts, but they're not the majority. You can see this by the way a zoo operates. Generally, the main concern for a proper conservation effort is to keep these animals and their behavior as close to nature as possible. And I don't know if you've noticed, but generally animals in the wild aren't being watched for 9 hours a day by strangers through glass walls and cages. So that's what makes this story even more sad, is that this little baby monkey is going to grow up in a cage. What's also interesting in this is that baby monkeys are actually not the only animal to grow attached to toys. And I'm sure many of you who've had a cat or a dog have noted that yourselves, that cats and dogs, especially dogs, they have their favorite toys. They become attached to them and they even cuddle them. But what you might not know is that this behavior is also observed in pigs. Pigs are actually more intelligent than dogs, and their intelligence level has been compared to that of a human toddler. They also have their favorite toys and have been known to snuggle with them and turn to them for comfort. People always assume that this sort of behavior is only reserved for animals like ourselves, like the monkeys and the chimpanzees and the apes or whatever, but that's just not true. There are so many other animals, many of them actually in our food system, our farming system, that show these sorts of personality traits and seek comfort when they're feeling stressed or anxious. When you really think about it, that shouldn't come as much of a surprise, considering the brains of various mammals and birds aren't that different from ours. They vary in the numbers of neurons, and they're obviously varying in the size, but ultimately, we're all processing feelings and emotions in a similar way. We're all processing pain in a similar way. And of course, pain isn't just physical, it can also be psychological. Now, there's not anything you can really do about this baby monkey. That monkey's likely just going to spend their entire life in that enclosure. And I'm sure eventually these interpersonal issues that they're having in the enclosure with the other monkeys will be resolved. But there is something you can do for other animals just like that monkey that have these similar personality traits. You know, that have the things that we've just been through, that can suffer physically and emotionally, just like this monkey. As I said, many of them exist in our food system. They're being bred into captivity and bred into situations that are far, far worse than the one that this monkey is in. And a very simple thing you can do today is stop funding these systems. It's well established now that we can get tasty, delicious, nutritious food from plant-based sources, that all of our nutrients can be sourced from plant-based sources. And yeah, we could go into a big video about that, but lucky for you, we already did. You can check this video out here or here, whichever side it pops up on, for my interview with Dr. Matthew Nagra to learn more about plant-based nutrition. If you're moved emotionally, you felt something from watching this video of the monkey, maybe that's a sign. Maybe that's a sign to start making those changes today.